Hey everybody, it's John Pollock and Jimmy Korderas. We are back after a long hiatus.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's such a long space between pay-per-views.
Yeah, we decided let's take a break until there's a pay-per-view that is just so grand, so gigantic that it requires us to do a preview. And that's what Payback is not.
It's not huge?
I don't think it is.
No, okay.
President. I feel that Payback, I mean, this is truly the hangover the next morning where everything's spinning, nothing makes sense. You just want the time to pass by so that you can get to that point where it passes and then you can move on with your life. That's how I feel about Payback, Jimmy. So I will be half glass half empty, and maybe your Tim Hortons is half full and you can even things out.
I will try. I will do my best.
Why is this event happening, Jimmy? Can you explain? I don't know why it's happening.
I think it's because they need content for the WWE Network. I don't know. It's the challenge here too is obviously we'll get into the matches as we talk here, but having Brock Lesnar not being on Payback, which is a Raw exclusive pay-per-view, and he's technically your Raw Universal Champion.
And also without any explanation. I mean, in past years, there was at least the suspension or he's leaving, something. In this case, your champion walked out. Your champion did essentially what Rusev is doing on SmackDown. I'm not showing up. I'm just not showing up. I'm holding out. You have no reason why your world champion is gone. Not even a, hey, he's on vacation. Nothing.
Nothing at all. And we don't even know if he's got his title belt in the refrigerator or anything like that. Nothing. Nothing at all. Is he going to show up at a Comic-Con and is he going to defend it in New Japan Pro Wrestling? I don't know. Anyways.
This is where people will always get on me when I'll scoff at something like they invoke the 30-day rule and it said, hey, that's always been a rule. You feel the 30-day rule is going to be enacted next week when that hits for Brock? Do you feel that's going to be addressed, Jimmy? Do you think a big segment is going to be dedicated to Brock addressing 30 days without a title defense?
I think there's going to be an asterisk beside it citing creative liberties.
Yes. Logic subject to change.
Yes, exactly.
This is going to be a fun preview, I feel. Let us start with, we're going to talk about the House of Horrors last. Instead, let us begin with Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, who I will say, let's get off on a positive note. Can you imagine, first of all, can you imagine me saying this a year ago? Braun Strowman not being on Raw this past month, what that show would have been like.
It would have lacked, I mean, ever since the superstar shakeup, so to speak, it seems like Raw, a lot of people are saying that SmackDown got shafted, but Raw has been the not better of the two shows since that shakeup. And
this past Monday was, I thought, an awful show.
Here's your build-up, as you were talking in the lead-up here. A pay-per-view post-WrestleMania, you're trying to get your audience kind of invested again in post-WrestleMania hangover. And you're leading into the first pay-per-view post-WrestleMania, and nothing really happens other than Braun Strowman. Like you said, Braun Strowman has been the one bright spot on Raw for the last several weeks, I think, and I love the way they're building him, and those who are going to complain that he lost a dumpster match to Kalisto, kind of the same way that Big Show lost the tables match to Cody Rhodes by accidentally stepping on it and it breaking. I mean, come on, guys, let's get over that. But I thought it was his build-up to become that monster has been great, and the one bright spot on Raw right now.
I agree. I feel that with Braun, I feel for this match especially, given that you've done the injury angle, there's no reason Braun shouldn't win this match, especially if you are gearing him up for Brock Lesnar, if that is the plan to go forward with, if Brock is eventually going to have a title defense. But these two, they had a really good match back in March at Fastlane, and I think they're going to have a pretty great match here. I guess the question is how much of the this injury that they did with the ambulance with Roman, it was just so over the top. It was so ridiculous. I at least like the fact he was off TV for 2 weeks for a near fatal death in the ambulance. Right. But does he come back and he's just, boom. He's like The Rock after Hulk Hogan hit him with a semi in an ambulance and not a scratch on him. How do you treat this?
I think it's going to be a little different this time. I think Roman Reigns, the one thing he doesn't get enough credit for is his selling. I think he sells really well especially for a guy who's actually booked like Superman, basically, or John Cena version 2. He sells really well, and I think that's going to play into this match. And I think in the storytelling and the psychology of the match, and why I think Braun Strowman actually will and should go over in this match.
Will this go on last?
I think it has to.
I think it does
what
too.
Else?
Oh, the option is the House of Horrors.
Yeah, so this definitely has to go last.
So I think we're in agreement. I feel Braun should win this match. Doesn't always mean he will, but we will see what happens. As we move on, let us discuss the unfortunate program that it's deteriorated into, and that's Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. And this is a direct result of this shakeup, where they're not the only program where you've got to finish the feud, but both guys are separate. They're on different brands. To me, Owens and Jericho is a feud that exists on paper only, and we're going to get the conclusion on Sunday. And I think it's really taken down a feud that, had they known this was the direction each were going, it just should have ended at WrestleMania. Like, it feels they had no ideas of what to do with Chris Jericho beyond just filling him into slots on Raw because your opponent's on SmackDown. He's definitely got his exit planned with the Fozzy Tour coming up. The dates are announced. That's no secret to anyone. And I think they've just lost all momentum for this feud.
Yeah, and it's weird. Again, it almost feels like that superstar shakeup that they did. A lot of stuff was last minute.
It was ill-timed.
Yeah, exactly. It could have waited till after this pay-per-view.
My thinking was, given that you do the call-ups right after WrestleMania, that's an injection right there of new faces onto each brand that you would hope that at least gives you enough to do your respective pay-per-views for the next 6 weeks. In a perfect world, I feel you would make the Money in the Bank show in June a co-branded pay-per-view. Right now, it's just a SmackDown show.
Right.
Get the briefcase onto someone, and then to set up your summer, that's when you do your shakeup, is maybe the night after Money in the Bank, going into the summer with some switches, because this has not worked right after WrestleMania, and it's made this show just feel very lame duck.
Yeah, very true. See, and I do give WWE usually credit for being patient. A lot of times to the detriment of the audience who wants everything to happen right away. This felt like they went against what they normally do, and went straight into that superstar shakeup 2 weeks after WrestleMania, which I agree with you was a little premature. I think putting it off for a little while. As far as the shakeup itself, I know people complain that there was no general managers to kind of. I would have kind of liked to have seen like some bickering back and forth. Hey, I'll trade you so and so for future considerations, whatever. Have a little bit of interaction with the general managers. But the surprises were kind of nice. There were some nice surprises, but again, too soon after WrestleMania.
In this match, I mean, logic would dictate Owens just wins this match, and that's it for Jericho. I don't know if Sundays is his last day or not. He could still show up on Raw conceivably for one final angle or match
before he drifts off. And
that's been teased.
See what I did there?
We got it. There's also the option, which the WWE has not been immune to in the past, where it's just surprise everybody, and you could do Jericho wins surprisingly and then loses to Owens on the SmackDown going out.
Yeah.
Does Owens go back to Raw, though? Have they established that?
They really didn't say it, but I would assume that since the superstar shakeup, they brought Kevin Owens over to SmackDown. He is a SmackDown superstar, and Jericho would only become a SmackDown superstar if he were to win the U.S. Championship.
Wow.
But Kevin Owens stays. But it's like...
If you ever need that much explanation, go with the simpler option. And I feel Owens wins on Sunday. How about that?
Very simple. I like that.
Alexa Bliss will be challenging Bayley in her hometown of San Jose. I guess that guarantees an Alexa Bliss victory.
Normally it would. You know what? I'll be honest with you, though. I'm pleasantly surprised with Alexa Bliss. I think she's been the one surprising bright spot in the women's division that I didn't expect. What did they call her? 5 feet of fury or whatever. Real. I don't want to get into short jokes and stuff like that, but
go over everyone's head anyway.
Yeah. See what he did there? Yeah. I like Alexa Bliss. I think she's really, really grown and really getting better week by week by week, and seems to get more comfortable every week. Bayley, on the other hand, was the one I thought would be the one who would have that magical connection with the audience that you want from a female superstar to become possibly the next female John Cena, so to speak. haven't seen that yet, and I want to know. I want to think that a lot of that has to do with her, whether it's delivery on the microphone, material she's been giving, whatever it is.
There seems to be a fundamental issue with characters they don't quite grasp as to why they have connected with people. Bayley and Nakamura, to me, being the key ones at this point. Like for Nakamura, we have, well, he was influenced by Michael Jackson. Well, let's build an entire segment where he actually is Michael Jackson. Bayley is this childlike character. So let's make her an actual child who has never kissed a boy before. We're actually going to pretend she's 12 years old or something. And to me, it's just, no, you're not understanding the relatability factor of what draws people to them by taking these actual circumstances and trying to force them upon these characters, like forcing them into this weird hole. And that's where we are, I feel, with these two. And I really didn't like that segment with Bayley. And I looked at this show. Here it is in her hometown. I thought there was an opportunity to do something really big with Bayley, and it's just a match. And the fact it's just a match makes me feel that they could just do the typical hometown, Bayley gets screwed and loses the title in front of her dad.
Yeah. No, I could see that happening too. But to your point about it's all about connecting with the audience. That's what this whole business is predicated on. And you have an opportunity here with someone like a Nakamura. I hate to get off topic and go SmackDown, but with someone like Nakamura and Bayley who have an organic connection. And I know the challenge is the hardcore audience, they're going to gravitate to them anyways because they're familiar with both. You want to attract that casual audience who may tune in periodically and get them to connect with these two individuals. But it almost feels like they figure they have to change what is working to get it to connect with a casual audience. And sometimes you don't have to. I know sometimes you do have to in certain circumstances, but in other circumstances, like, for example, Daniel Bryan is a perfect example. Here's a guy who connected with the entire audience, a broader audience. Let these, it's almost like they don't give them a chance to fail.
Right.
You know what I mean? Give them that opportunity to do what they're doing. If it doesn't work, then take it in a different direction.
The Hardys against Cesaro and Sheamus. If you're just following the way that this has been built up, it's Cesaro and Sheamus. They won their chance to get the tag title shots, and then Sheamus loses, Cesaro loses, and now they get the title challenge, the pay-per-view.
I think you were right the first time. Freudian slip. I think you're right.
Yeah, which would suggest they're winning the titles on Sunday, which I don't feel is happening with the Hardys losing this quickly. But I feel this feud progresses beyond Payback. Well, what have you thought of the Hardys now that we are a few weeks in? And we're kind of right at the end of the honeymoon period. I'm okay with it. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Hardys. I like the fact that Matt is kind of subtly bringing in the broken character without actually going full-blown broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero. Little snippets. He comes out on his entrance. He does a quick little delete thing to get that in there too, and the audience recognizes it. As far as their in-ring stuff, it's pretty standard. They haven't really slowed down that much, so that's all right. Does that concern you with those two over the long term? Of they're back on the road full time. Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing 3 to 4 matches a week. I mean, that's. I just was randomly reading this excerpt from Jeff from a few months ago when he was on Colt Cabana's show, and he was talking about when he really got hooked on painkillers and was going through all of his issues, and he was citing just the schedule. Yep. And now he's right back into that environment, and it looks like they're booked on the European tour, they're booked on all the house shows, and for the short term, I guess it helps that they're in a tag scenario, not doing singles matches, but that's probably not going to last. Like, Jeff will probably branch out from this tag team at some point.
Or even Matt with the character, yeah. And
you have to wonder that. And Matt, at least with that gimmick, he doesn't have to work the kind of match that Jeff will be expected to do.
Exactly.
And that becomes, I think, very concerning when you see both of them with their past issues and diving into the deep end of a WWE road schedule this many years removed from the last time they went through it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. I mean, like, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You expect them to do the stuff that got them to the status they are today. Like, for example, the ladder match at WrestleMania. You know, Jeff off the top of that ladder, that 20-foot ladder, whatever the hell it is, and going through Cesaro and Sheamus on the bridge ladders and doing crazy stuff like that. It's going to be a challenge because if they tone down their style, will people still accept it? That's going to be the challenge, and maybe they go in a different direction, and maybe I'll get to that later. But kind of tie things in a little bit, foreshadowing. Hopefully, maybe not. I don't know. Just some fantasy booking, as I like to do.
This should be a good match. I feel.
Oh yeah.
The actual match. I mean, you can look at how Cesaro and Sheamus have been positioned here, but I feel very much. This feels like that feud they almost identical after WrestleMania 10 years ago, where the Hardys were paired with Trevor Murdoch and Lance Cade, and they were doing the mutual respect. But you could see this was ultimately turning into one team going heel, this being Cesaro and Sheamus in this instance, and there's probably something to trigger that in the finish of this match, and then you extend this beyond Payback.
Yeah, I could see that happening, and this match here, I wouldn't even mind if Cesaro and Sheamus were to win the match and win the titles, and
it's not as though you have
and start the downward spiral, maybe getting towards maybe not full blown going that broken character, but at least bringing in elements of it and maybe having a little twist to it, so to speak.
Yeah, with the revival out for the time being, it's not as though the Raw tag division is very deep with alternatives for the Hardys either. Then we have, what else? The Cruiserweight title match with Neville and Austin Aries. I think this should be a very good match. I really enjoyed their WrestleMania match quite a lot. It was very early in the evening, so I don't know if people even remembered the match by the end.
I'm glad it was because, you know, hindsight being 20/20, them being on the pre-show gave them plenty of time.
Exactly what we said was they got their 15 minutes, which they would not have got on the main show. They would have been... Much like the SmackDown women, for all the people that wanted them on the main show that were upset, then they got moved to the main show, and they had to race through those 5 minutes in a really difficult spot.
Yeah, they did 4 furlongs in 6 furlongs in 110 flat. It was fast. Yeah, that's my horse racing reference for the day.
Is this?
I know Cam Stewart would like that, but anyway.
Well, the horse racing contingent that we have here. I really enjoy Neville as the Cruiserweight champion. I'm fine if they leave it on him. But I do get the sense that this could be Austin Aries' win.
Yeah, I'm fine either way. I agree with you. I think Neville has found his niche as this angry little champion who wants to be king.
But you were going to can the short jokes.
I know, but he is a little bit. He still looks good. I mean, but Austin Aries, another guy who's. It's weird because he's, in my opinion, more suited as a heel, but still kind of getting over as like a smarmy babyface, which seems to be working today.
Oh, with Aries.
Yeah.
I think inevitably he could be a really fantastic heel at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, to me, his strength. And to be honest, I feel he could be an effective heel on Raw. Forget just the Cruiserweight division.
And they've got a lot of talented individuals in the Cruiserweight division. I just don't see anybody breaking out like those two have. And that's going to be the shortcoming of
That's the unfortunate part with Neville, is that I feel there's nothing wrong with him as champion, but who do you have ready beyond Aries?
Exactly.
And the answer is no one.
No.
Everyone's kind of had their you've done your Gallaghers and Swans. They've all had their runs with the title, but there's nobody that's kind of breaking through. I mean, you'd have to go to like Mustafa Ali as kind of that, and he's wrapped up in a feud at the moment, and I don't think he's on fire either.
No. There's very few guys. There's very little smoldering in the Cruiserweight division. Let's put it that way.
Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe. This could be a very good match.
Yes.
On Sunday, and I think interesting of where you go with the finish here. Joe hasn't been beaten yet. They've protected him quite a lot, and I feel he could get the win here.
I think so too. I think Joe needs to be booked in that, as a legit destroyer. I mean, like you have Braun Strowman as the monster, but you need also that ass kicker kind of guy that blows through the competition. I almost see this. I don't want to say Goldberg-ish kind of streak, but I want to see him go through an undefeated streak that lasts a while, so that when somebody does finally beat him, it means actually something.
Well, it's because you look at the theoretical program of Brock and Braun Strowman, and as much as Braun Strowman feels like the top babyface on Raw, he's not presented as that. He's presented as a heel. It's just the fans love this guy. Yeah. And it's kind of similar with Brock as well, and that becomes a program that, if it's handled right, and you have Brock that I kind of like it with Brock because it gives him the diversity that he can work either side and gives him that many more opponents. Right. Joe being one of them, that if you build that up, that's a fresh match. And if Joe is undefeated and you build him up, that could be SummerSlam. That could be a really big match between those two for the title.
Yeah, and it's a match that I think it's one of those fantasy matches that, again, the hardcore fans want to see, but also you're presenting Joe in a fashion that he's connecting with a more casual audience, with a broader audience as a heel, and they're buying into him as a heel. I think it would work for him to challenge someone like a Brock and make it believable. I mean, like, I know people are saying, well, we want Finn Balor, but that's a different story. I like that Finn Balor's slowly being brought along since his comeback.
Yes, he will be on Miz TV on the Kickoff show.
That's slow.
So that's I really feel that of all the talent that has moved back and forth, the guy hurt the most has been the Miz.
Yeah.
I mean, he went from, to me, integral part of SmackDown to comedy on Raw in really quick fashion.
Yeah, he's just another spoke in the wheel on Monday nights now.
And then we have Enzo and Cass against Anderson and Gallows on the Kickoff. One team will win, one team will lose. That's my prognostication.
And, yeah.
Exactly. House of Horrors.
Oh, there we go.
Non-title House of Horrors. You can't do a title change inside of a house on a pre-tape.
Why not?
I just said it. I just made it up.
Oh, okay.
The new rule. Yeah,
you can't do it? Oh,
yeah, apparently. That's.
You know what? I do have the rule book at home, the official published one by the WWE.
Oh, is there anything that has a House of Horrors? Is it
I didn't see
analogous to the Chamber of Horrors?
I didn't see it in there. I didn't see it. See, now there has to be an amendment to the book added, like a few leaves added in at the end. I don't know.
I hope that the crowd is mic'd during the pre-tape portion inside of the house. I want to hear this audience's genuine reaction. I would love to be in that arena as they sit back for this House of Horrors. I feel like it's either going to die a death of just utter boredom, or it's going to be so over-the-top ridiculous that at some point the audience is just going to give up and get into this monstrosity of an idea. Because I don't feel any way that this is going to be good.
Well, the first part was they never really actually fully explained the House of Horrors concept. I mean, like, is it going to be a ring set up like that? We're assuming it's going to be a house, so to speak. I'm almost seeing like this could go the way of,
those WCW skits with Cheatham?
No, not that bad.
Maybe a boat explodes.
Well, at least it's not on the back
Something
of a
could explode.
Well, at least it's not on the back of a flatbed.
That's true.
But we got a taste a little bit at WrestleMania with the kind of squiggly things in the ring and kind of
including the giant viper that Randy Orton had a more graphic description of.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. But
hey, his words.
I'm not whatever floats your boat. That's cool. But it's weird. I almost see this being kind of like going the route of Total Deletion. Like being so over the top with stuff going on inside a house that's just crazy crap.
Which their last stab at that last summer with the Wyatts and New Day
in the
was not a home run.
At the compound. Yeah, at the compound. Yeah,
yes.
It was a little different.
So it's non-title.
Yeah.
I guess Randy wins. Or Bray wins. I don't think it really matters. I don't think the outcome of this really is all that important, to be quite honest. I think that they go their separate ways. Mm-hmm. We know Orton's already got his title match for Backlash with Jinder Mahal. Bray's he's already planted the seeds for his feud with Finn Balor.
Yep.
This is, again, it's a holdover that's it's happening to finish a feud that realistically was done for most people at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I think it was also this is also done to kind of bring some star power over to the pay-per-view that is lacking from a lack of the champion, Brock Lesnar, not being there. Again, trying to stack the card a little bit. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it fits. And again, looks like the Superstar shakeup was a last-minute, let's put Bray Wyatt over on Raw kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like anyways. Again, as far as who wins, I could see Bray winning this one easily. And
then he's got a match that's his calling card. That means we'll get a series of these and a DVD in 6 years.
So this will be...
Probably won't be a DVD. Maybe it'll be like a chip that you insert in your ear.
Yeah.
You can just
even worse.
Even better way to watch the House of Horrors with mind control.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be lying if I said, folks, that I'm counting down to Payback, but it is happening on Sunday. It will be in San Jose. Matches will occur. Matches will end, and presumably we'll find out what the House of Horrors is.
Hopefully. This is one of those situations where you go in with the bar very low and they surpass it.
It's the best you can hope for. It's that the show over-delivers the very little that it is promising. And since you're locked into a subscription, you can't even ask the company for your pay back.
Wow.
It's not pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But we'll be back next week. We'll chat about whatever happens at Payback and what exactly the House of Horrors becomes. So for Jimmy Korderas, I'm John Pollock. Thank you for tuning in, and you can check out The Lost Sunday night at 11 Eastern, right after Payback. We'll have a full rundown on that show as well on TSN Radio and at liveaudiowrestling.com, and we'll speak with you next week.